Hmm.
Yes!
Um, well, I think, about what are you wittering, lad? Call yourself a lawyer. I wish I could. But first and foremost here, I'm the accused. Ryanosuke. Everyone stumbles on their words occasionally. Under the circumstances, I wouldn't worry about it. Thanks, Kazuma. I could see it quite clearly in that cross-examination you just carried out. When you raised your hand straight up like that, so purposefully, you knew exactly what it was you wanted to say. Don't feel like you have to choose your words carefully. Just say what you're thinking. Alright, and thanks for the advice. Alright. Korikuta-san, this is a medical report card belonging to the victim. Ah, I see. And I don't see. What of it, boy? Comparing what is written on this report card with your witness statement, something clearly doesn't add up. Dear me, have you forgotten my words so soon, you amateur? Sorry, what? You are not to interrupt court proceedings with your amateurish drivel. But let's see if I can explain in words you might understand. It was after 2 p.m. in the afternoon when the victim was murdered at a restaurant. Whatever he may or may not have done before that time is completely irrelevant. Ugh. But that's... Remember, Ryanosuke, you don't have to use clever language or fancy words. Just make your point. Your Excellency, I believe we're finished here. There is surely no need to prolong this trial further. Hmm? The witness testimonies the court has heard have been clear and concise. This medical report card has no bearing on the matter at all, for the simple reason that there is no one else besides this pale-faced pupil who... This medical report card has nothing to do with the case? Do you really believe that? What? That outburst half petrified me, boy. He's sweating now. Of course I believe it. How could it possibly be relevant? Perhaps because Hara Clinic, which issued the report card, is a dental clinic. Got him. A dental clinic? Is that supposed to mean something to me? Perhaps if I told you that the victim had just had a tooth extracted. What's this now? And furthermore, if I told you that as a result, the victim had been forbidden from eating. Just what are you trying to say, cadet? He had orders not to eat. So what? It's all written up in here. No food or drink other than water for 3 hours post-procedure while anesthesia wears off. What? No, that can't. Karikuta-san. What, boy? What? As you just heard, when he was killed, sometime shortly after 2 p.m., the victim couldn't have been eating anything at all. No. Additionally, there's more. You have assured the court with unwavering self-confidence that the victim was dining alone. But that cannot possibly be the case. Because the victim, as we now know, had just had one of his teeth extracted and was still experiencing the effects of anesthetic. I think we gave them whiplash. Expertly done, partner. Hey! Why are you still objecting me? What is this nonsense, you little upstart? Verbal whiplash, yeah. These are baseless accusations. Just look at this photographic evidence. You can clearly see the plate of food at the victim's table.
Objection!
Objection! Use your head. That's the very discrepancy we're talking about. Or can't you follow the logic? How dare you? I think it's fair to say that the tables in this restaurant case have turned. Wouldn't you agree, Ryunosuke? Yes! Most definitely! So having just undergone some dental surgery, the victim was unable to eat. Which leaves one very crucial conundrum. Who in fact was eating the pictured beef steak? The court will hear the opinion of the defense on this new puzzle. I assume you're ready, counsel? Oh boy. Counsel! Oh, that means me, doesn't it? Alright. The answer to this question is going to be pivotal. This is going to be the start of your turning this trial around. Show them what you're made of! Got it. So, the person eating the steak at the victim's table must have been... definitely not me. Save the game. Okay. Okay, we'll save over this one. Okay. Well, it definitely wasn't me. And I don't think it was those two, so it had to be a third party. Obviously, it can only have been someone else who was sitting at the professor's table.
Objection!
No more objections! You will not let this go, will you? There was no such person.
Yes!
Yes, there was, because I saw her. When the incident occurred, we know that the victim couldn't have been eating anything. Therefore, the only logical conclusion is that there was somebody else there eating it. Ugh. We have strong evidence to support our assertion. It's clear that these witness testimonies are unreliable. If the court decides to push through a ruling at this stage, we will lodge a formal complaint with the Ministry of Justice and pursue a fair retrial relentlessly. Kazuma? Are you insane? I mean, probably. You would take on the government? Don't worry, counsel. I have no issue with you. What do you mean? I have issue with them. Those two witnesses in the stand. What? I'm pretty sure that's what he'll do. What are you talking about? We have demonstrated with evidence that the victim was not alone. So if it now turns out that the two of you deliberately lied when giving your testimonies, obviously you will be charged with perjury. Perjury? And, since this is a murder trial, you will also be deemed complicit in the killing. Complicit? In murder? No! Hold it! Negative. There was no mention of this at the tactical meeting. I was just following orders. That's right, as the man says. You just say you never saw the gentlewoman. That's what they, told us. Oh. What? What did you just say, Korikuta-san? He's hiding behind his little thingy. Oh, no. You were just following orders? Now hold on, lad. I was, say you never saw the gentlewoman? When you say gentlewoman, do you mean you saw the victim with a lady from overseas? What? What is the meaning of all this? These witnesses gave false statements? Is this true, you pair? The baby's back to, like, snoozing. And he's still cowering. Just one simple slip of the tongue. Order! Order! Counsel, explain what is going on here. It's painfully clear now. You tried to prevent these witnesses from telling the truth. Absolutely not! The prosecution knows nothing of this. Why did he look at the desk when he slapped his hands down? Then who's behind this? Who tried to make you keep your mouth shut? Well, the baby's pulling his mustache. That's classified. So you're prepared to be tried as conspirator to this murder, are you? You wouldn't. This can't be happening. Ryunosuke. Judging from the way they're reacting to this, I'd say they were sworn to silence by someone with considerable influence. However, I don't believe Ouchie had any idea about it. What are you saying? The baby Angie. I mean, to wield that kind of influence, there are only a handful of possibilities. It could only have been the government, the military, or the police, I suppose. Well, any idea about who it might be behind this? If we can affirm who tried to silence these witnesses, then we can continue our pursuit. So we need to name whoever it was that tried to make the witnesses keep their mouths shut. Evidence that proves whoever it really was did wield his or her power here. But how? How can we possibly... Remember how we made progress before? Before? We examined this piece of evidence in more detail and found a new clue as a result. Oh, yes, that's right. Well, that's not the only piece of evidence we have, is it? We need to re-examine everything and make sure there's nothing we've missed. There's no time to lose. I want answers. If it's proven that these witnesses have been manipulated, I assure you the penalty will be severe. Please, wait, Your Excellency. I had no idea about any of this. I swear to every Shinto god. I knew nothing. And what does the defense have to say about all this? Well, Your Excellency. No time to think. I'm just gonna have to close my eyes and shout out the first name that comes to my head. Think. Besides the prosecution, the only person... Let's see. The only person else in the restaurant would have been, waiter the waiter.
Yes.
Well, surely that would be Satoru Hosonaga. Hosonaga-san? The waiter who took the stand earlier?
Objection.
Poppycock! What possible reason would the waiter have to make these witnesses give false testimony? Not to mention the fact that even a head waiter could not possibly have that level of influence. For once, I would agree with you. If that is, the man truly were a waiter. What? If he truly were... That's a good question. I don't know why waiters would have influence. But I don't think they would. Come on, Ryunosuke. Time to hit this court with the truth. The truth about Satoru Hosonaga-san's real identity as proven by this evidence. He did give us a business card, so...
Yes.
I'm not sure what this is supposed to prove, Counsel. I think, Your Excellency, that what this proves is not the true nature of the waiter, but the true nature of the accused. Sorry? A blackguard who would stoop to presenting irrelevant evidence to incriminate an innocent man. That is the true nature of this rookie. What? Try again. Go over all the evidence. We have one more time. Alright then, I'll try. Come on, Ryunosuke. We're gonna examine that. This plan of the restaurant raises a number of questions, I think. Definitely. It's supposed to show the relative position of everything in the moments following the incident. But there's nothing to show. The woman you say you saw there? Exactly. And that's not all. Look here in the upper left where it says kitchen. Oh, yes. What of it? No one would use those complicated characters to write kitchen. Especially not if they were in a hurry. You mean you don't remember those characters yourself? Don't you? Study harder, Ryunosuke. Ha. Ha ha! He's not a waiter. Well, that's unexpected. What is it? Look, do you see it says the witness's name here? Satoru Hosonaga. Well, yes, business cards do tend to show the person's name. That's sort of the point. It's not the name that's unexpected, it's his job title. His job? Oh! Chief Inspector Satoru Hosonaga. Primary Criminal Investigation Division, Imperial Police Bureau? Inspector? What on earth? I have no idea. But let's face it, the police have a lot of power and influence if they're wielding it somehow here.
Yes.
Alright, let's present that. The plan of the restaurant sketched by the man in question. I agree it shows a great deal of attention to detail, but I'm not sure we can conclude anything. Sorry, Your Excellency. That's the back of the card. It's the back of the card that's of interest. I beg your pardon. Or perhaps I should have said the front. Yes. Yes, it's the front of the back of the card. That's where the telling detail is. The back of the back of the front of the front of the front of the back. Would somebody please explain what this overexcited student is trying to say? Hosonaga-san sketched the plan of the restaurant on the reverse side of his business card. The front of that business card reveals the man in question's profession. His true profession. The waiter's profession? But that's surely... Good gracious! That's right, Your Excellency. The card reads, Chief Inspector, Primary Criminal Investigation Division, Imperial Police Bureau. What? The waiter is a police detective? I haven't heard any mention of this before. Why haven't I heard any mention of this before? The Imperial Police Bureau has immense power. Absolute power. As far as regular civilians are concerned. So, witnesses, they're in the stand. Was it in fact the waiter who gave you your orders? Was it he who told you not to mention that you'd seen this foreign gentlewoman at the scene? Well... Hold it! Who's that? Oh! Inspector Hosonaga. I was worried something like this may happen. The moment you asked me to submit my sketch as evidence, I realized it was a possibility. The court will take this plan and add it to the court record as evidence. Oh, well... Is there a problem? Hand the plan to the court officer at once. Of course. Here you are. Yeah, I remember now. He did act strangely when the judge asked him to hand over his business card. I strive to carry out all investigations flawlessly. It's my guiding principle. But I let myself be distracted when I made that sketch. It was an unusually careless mistake. So, you mean to say, you really are a detective? He does not look impressed. But why would a detective be working as a restaurant waiter? Ah, of course! Your salary must be... I was working undercover. Undercover. Yes, there have been a series of incidents at that restaurant recently. In order to investigate, I decided to get a job there as a waiter, working undercover. Incidents at the restaurant? What kind of incidents? That would be classified police information, which I am not at liberty to divulge. However, I can state categorically that they are unrelated to this case of homicide. Very well then, Inspector Hosonaga. But you will elaborate on one point for the court. Of course, Your Excellency. We have just heard new information from the two witnesses beside you. That at the time of the shooting, there was in fact another person present at the victim's table. If that is indeed true, clearly you would also have been aware of this person's presence, having served at the table in question. However, your testimony did not allude to this other diner. Therefore, I am led to assume that in your professional capacity as a police officer, you required these witnesses to be in agreement. Would that be correct? Ahem. Ahem. Sir, you got a little something on your face. Correct, Your Excellency. Unbelievable! As I suspected. Bang! As soon as I heard the gunshot, I ran out of the kitchen to see what had happened. The victim sat slumped in his chair, and beside him, gun in hand, stood the accused student. Sitting opposite of the victim at the same table was a young lady whom I'd guessed to be an Englishwoman. Too many Bloody Marys. Man, I could really use one right now. So the truth comes out. I immediately sealed off the restaurant and reported the incident to the bureau. It was then that I received some special orders. Special orders? You mean to say, remove the Englishwoman from the scene at once. It was made clear that the Englishwoman's presence at the restaurant was to be concealed. Those were my orders. But what if this Englishwoman was the killer? I think it would be in everyone's best interest not to pursue that idea. The Empire views the friendly terms of its relationship with Britain more highly than anything at the moment. An Englishman has been murdered on our soil. To name an Englishwoman as the primary suspect, well, without irrefutable evidence, that would be completely out of the question. So that's the reason for the disappearance of the Phantom Woman in this case. But it's not right. Everybody's quiet. One possibility does spring to mind. What do you mean, Kazuma? She's too spooky. Yume University is currently hosting a number of exchange students from Great Britain. And I'm fairly certain that one of them studying in the medical facilities research laboratory is a young Englishwoman. What? You're a shrewd man. I can see why you're the chosen candidate for the overseas study tour. You mean, when I removed the woman from the scene of the crime, I thought it prudent to check her identity first. Then the court demands that you name the lady in question at once, Inspector. The Englishwoman sitting at the university professor's table was a certain Miss Jezile Brett. She is indeed a foreign student, studying in the research laboratory of Yume University's medical faculty. What? What is happening here? I admit that under orders from the police bureau, I erased all evidence of this lady's presence at the scene and ordered these witnesses to make no mention of her in their testimonies. It must now be up to Your Excellency to decide how to deal with this situation. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I really wanted to go for that lo-fi vibe. Alright. Very well. My thoughts on the matter are as follows. Thus far, the case presented to the court has been underpinned by a particularly critical premise. Namely, that the victim was dining alone. However, as we have now discovered that this premise is false, so many words. It would be a desecration of our justice system to ignore the truth and give a ruling at this point. But, Your Excellency, that would mean missing the noon deadline of a ruling in order to send the telegraphic report to the Great Britain. Our own government will surely be very displeased by such actions. Calm yourself, Counsel. Calm yourself. I will not allow the government of our country or any other influence the proceedings of my courtroom. Because this is my courtroom. Ugh. Inspector Hosonaga. Yes, sir. You will locate this Giselle Brett and escort her to the courtroom with the utmost urgency. Calm. Calm does indeed spell panic. But that means you'll be going against the special orders you were given from the police bureau. As I said before, it is my guiding principle to carry out all investigations flawlessly. So it won't be a problem? Sir, you still have that problem to deal with. Why are you getting all fisticuffs with me? Nothing will get in my way. You might... Court will adjourn briefly. The prosecution must call the English student Giselle Brett to the witness stand. Do I make myself clear? Yes. Your Excellency! Good. Then we will have a 30-minute recess before reconvening. We finally got through it. Yes, we will save. Yay! I did a good job! Okay. November, 11:38 a.m. Supreme Court of Judicature. Defendants enter Chamber 5. Alright. Let's see. Excellent work, Ryunosuke. That was superb. Ugh. My heart was in my mouth the entire time. It was almost unbelievable. I mean, looking at you in there, all cool, calm, collect. You were drenched in sweat, your eyes popping, your knees knocking, and you were grinding your teeth. Sounds about right. My boy really calling me out there. It was a grim sight, but before I knew it, you started finding inconsistencies in testimonies. I think you might have a natural talent for being a lawyer. Cool sweat, calm popping eyes out, collected teeth grinding? Yeah, all the works. It's what makes me a great lawyer. Forget it, it's terrifying. If I get through this, I don't ever want to see the inside of a courtroom again. Anyway, it looks like we've exposed your phantom lady at last. Miss Giselle Brett, a student from Great Britain. Is she... That's what I was trying to tell everyone from the start. Dr. Wilson wasn't alone. There was a young woman with him, like I've been saying all along. Yes, you have, haven't you? I might not be overly confident in the courtroom, but my powers of observation are one thing I am sure of. Yes, I can see that. So, about this young gentlewoman... Oops. Thanks to our detective friend, she was hastily escorted away from the scene, it seems. Did you see what happened with that? No, I didn't see any of it. I was just on my way out of the restaurant myself. Then on the floor next to Dr. Wilson's table, I noticed there was a gun lying on the floor. And just after I bent down and picked it up, bang! I didn't have time to think about where the sound of the gunshot had come from. The waiter ran over to me looking as white as a sheet. And he bundled me into some sort of small pantry next to the kitchen. Fast thinking by the detective, he apprehended his suspect without a moment's delay. Yes, and because I was shut in the pantry... Wait. Why did he lock me in the pantry? I have no idea what happened outside in the dining area. Ah, there you are. Well done, both of you. Oh, hey! It's that guy! Professor Mikotoba. Well, it seems I was right. The pair of you make an outstanding team. You've exceeded my expectations, I have to say. Yes, it seems you planned this from the start. You arranged things so that I wouldn't be able to act as a lawyer in this trial. Our modern country is still in its infancy. Our justice system is even more so. Which is why I firmly believe that we need to send our brightest young stars overseas to learn all they can. I wanted to avoid a situation that may have resulted in your study tour to Great Britain being cancelled. Well, it makes no difference. Lawyer or otherwise. If I'm the kind of man who can't help his best friend avert the worst crisis of his life, I shouldn't waste everyone's time by going to study overseas anyway. What? What are you saying, Kazuma? So that's your stance. I was afraid you'd feel that way. Kazuma. Well then, it looks like it all comes down to you, young man. To me? Yes, you need to prove your innocence and uncover what really took place in that restaurant. I must say, I very much want to know the truth. After all, I have a personal connection to this case. Come to think of it, he said the same thing earlier this morning, didn't he? If you don't mind me asking, Professor, did you know the victim? Yes, I did. As you're probably aware, Dr. John H. Wilson was a visiting professor at UMA, and it was I who invited him. I will stay. Yes, I hope he stays. Oh, I see. I didn't know that before. Anyway, you're about to go into battle. Heck yeah, we are. The victim was a university professor from Great Britain, and a well-known one at that. Oops. Naturally, our government is looking to identify and punish the culprit as quickly as possible. But let's not forget who we're going up against. The gentlewoman whose involvement our police bureau went to extraordinary lengths to hide. Yes, and I'm sure the prosecution will be using every tool at their disposal to quash your case. But I've no doubt that you pair will put up a good fight right to the last. Best of luck! Thank you! Now then. I need you to run an errand at the university at once. There's something I think we may need. Of course. Good luck, Kazuma-sama. Defendant Naruhodo. Court recess is over. Please make your way back inside the courtroom at once. Here we go. It's time. Let's get back to it, partner. Yeehaw! Naruto. Let's Naruto run right back into that courtroom. Believe it! Let's go in there and deal a decisive blow before those old fossils know what's hit them. Kazuma, I need to confess to you. What? Thank you. Really? What for? Well, if you hadn't said you'd believe me, then I'm fairly sure I'd already have been found guilty by now. Look, I have faith in you. Good, because I don't. As a lawyer, and as a friend. Coming from you, that means a lot. If I'm found guilty in this trial, he's really going to give up on his dream of studying abroad. That's the kind of true friend he is. So this isn't just my battle anymore. Whoever we're up against, we absolutely cannot afford to lose. Alright then. I'll save the thank yous for after the trial. You can treat me to one of those sukiyaki meals I like from Yume Cafeteria on University Street. With an extra large portion, of course. 22nd November, 12:09 p.m. Supreme Court. The court hereby resumes the trial of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Believe it! Prosecutor Ouchi, have you managed to subpoena the witness? Yes, Your Excellency, against all odds. And thanks to a certain young stripling, the prosecution is now under rather painful scrutiny from the government. Ugh, sorry. Let the government scrutinize. That's their job. It's nothing to worry about. It's highly unlikely that the good relations we've forged with Great Britain will emerge from this trial unscathed. Will you still think it's nothing to worry about when the new treaty breaks down and our nation founders? Again. Please make me the Hokage! Terribly sorry. If the friendship between our nations is really so fragile, then the treaty isn't worth the paper it is written on. Ooh. You really have nothing to worry about, Ryunosuke. What do you mean? A secret trial, anxiety over some foreign government's opinions, a bungled investigation, missing witnesses. Is this what our nation's justice system is? Is this the Supreme Court of Japan or of England? Shut up! Shut up! You jumped up rookie boy! You and your friend know nothing. Nothing of the situation our nation finds itself in. By aligning ourselves with this great world power, we'll become strong. Diplomacy has never been more critical. Steady political maneuvering is what will secure our futures. I won't deny that I'm no expert. I'm just a student. And one who could arguably study harder, too. But standing here now in our Supreme Court, there's one thing that I feel very strongly. A country that fails to uphold the truth in its justice system is a country with no future at all. Well said, Ryunosuke, despite the wide-eyed look of terror. You little brats! Indeed. Thank you, Counsel. This court is the pinnacle of our nation's justice system, and exists solely for the pursuance of truth. With that in mind, this trial will now resume with the next witness taking the stand. The visiting student from Great Britain, Miss Giselle Brett. Yes. Your Excellency! Ooh, that's a hat. Well, what a delight it is to welcome such a fine gentlewoman to Japan. And from such a distant land. Tea! Someone bring English tea. In England, no discussions take place without tea. Is that true? No idea. Well, now he's just catering to her. So, Could we possibly trouble you to state your name and occupation for the court? Of course. My name is Satoru Hosonaga. I have been working undercover as the head waiter at La Yes, we know all about you already. Inspector Hosonaga, where are your manners? In England, it is always ladies first. Was that true? I beg to differ. No idea. More importantly, a little earlier today you said something to me. You said, your powers of observation are the one thing you're sure of. Yes, I think I did, didn't I? They be thirsty in this drought. Yet your description for this amazing sight was simply a woman. Sorry, Ryunosuke, but powers of observation aside, your powers of description are sorely lacking. Guilty? So, dear lady, once again, if we may trouble you for your name and occupation, please. Ouchie's just trying to butter her up. Oh. Oh my god. But damn, she do be fine though. I'm terribly sorry, dear lady, but what? Why is he whispering to her? The lady says her name is Giselle Brett. She comes from London, England. She's a visiting research student, currently enrolled in Yume University's medical faculty. Oh my, what a rare treat to hear the dulcet tones of the delightful language of the British people. I'm afraid I don't understand a word you said, but it was as beautiful as a hummingbird's song. As far as I can tell. The detective is translating her words faithfully enough. Yes, I agree. You'll obviously do fine in England, Kazuma. Her English doesn't rattle you at all, does it? Nor you. You've clearly been paying attention in your English classes, Ryunosuke. The court thanks the beautiful lady for taking the stand. Now, if we may trouble you to confirm something, Miss Brett. 3 days ago, at a restaurant called La Carnival, a grim murder took place. The court has been led to believe that you were dining there with the victim, Dr. Wilson, at the time. Is that correct? Gotta sip your tea. She says yes. This could take some time. So, even though she's studying here in Japan, she can't speak any Japanese? She'd like to apologize for disappearing from the scene. She says that she was due to make a presentation at the university, so she had to leave immediately. Interesting. When you're the one who engineered her escape. I was just following special orders from the Bureau. Well now, dear lady, would you be so kind as to cast your eyes over this photographic print? I know. Seeing as you were so unfortunately present at the scene of the crime, could it be that your resplendent eyes caught sight of the wicked perpetrator, perhaps? Ugh, this font is horrible. Apparently, it was a very frightening and sorrowful sight. Do you mean to say... Yes, it would appear the lady did witness the crime. The very moment when the accused, standing right there in this courtroom, shot the victim in cold blood? That dress, though. Order! Order in the court! Did you hear that, Your Excellency? Here we have an absolutely conclusive witness statement. Well, it looks like it's clear now. Clear who our real enemy is. Unfortunately, I will have to ask you to formally testify, if you please. Kindly tell the court the exact nature of this frightening and sorrowful sight you described. Okay. Here we go. I had arranged to meet for a slightly late luncheon with Dr. Wilson that day. The professor was unable to eat, so I ordered for myself only a beef steak. Oh no. After a while, the accused came over to greet the professor, and they got into a fierce argument. Then, not long afterwards, the accused took the professor's gun and shot him right before my eyes. Her hat's so distracting. I don't carry a gun myself, so obviously I couldn't have been the culprit. This is a condemning testimony. Well, alright. No, I didn't have any kind of argument with the professor at all.
Objection!
Quiet, you filthy wretch. Look at you, you black-hearted blackguard. And look at this snow-white angel. I'm sure even a dark-minded scoundrel like you can imagine whose words the court is going to believe. You're still making the same mistakes, Ryunosuke. You mustn't blurt out when you're goaded like that. That's a lesson you need to learn. But he's so annoying. Of course, I was at the scene as well. I took statements from this lady and the two witnesses who testified before, and reported back to the Bureau. It was decided that Miss Brett was not involved, so I let her go. The testimonies of the last two witnesses were completely worthless, however. Well, even so, on the day in question, the lady was wearing the same outfit as she is today. As you can see, there is nowhere about her person where she could conceal a firearm. There are lots of places. I would think she could hide a gun almost anywhere in that outfit if she wanted to. Unless, and until the precise location where the witness is to have hidden a weapon can be shown, this is moot. There are no pockets in my outfit. I have nowhere to hide a gun. Those are the witness's own words on the matter. That's ridiculous. If only I was allowed to lift up her dress, then I... Whoa! Ryunosuke, getting ahead of yourself there. I think it's a swan. But also, damn boy, calm down. I thought you were in it for Kazuma. Don't think about doing anything rash, Ryunosuke. But I didn't fire the gun I picked up. There must have been another gun there that day. You're right about that, which means this lady was hiding a gun somewhere. Yes, that's what we have to prove now. And to do so, we will need to pull her testimony apart. Yeah, rip it apart. Oh. The defense may now cross-examine the witness. Oh, yes, Your Excellency. Alright. So first she said she arranged to have a luncheon with Dr. Wilson. That she did. And yeah, she did, so.
Yes.
He was unable to eat, you say? And that was because he had just had a tooth removed at a Hata clinic, correct? That's right. You're supposed to actually check with the witness before answering. Was Miss Brett aware of that fact? It seems so. Yes, she'd heard that the professor was to have some dental treatment. So that would mean that it was you who ate the steak pictured here. Is that right, Miss Brett? That's right, yes. The print you have there shows the table exactly as it was left after the horrifying events. Exactly as it was left? Dear me. What a harrowing experience. To have traveled to a distant island on the far side of the world and be embroiled in such a tragic incident. Have no fear, my dear lady. I swear I will crush the evil fiend that has subjected you to this terrible plight. So, the victim, Dr. Wilson, had nothing to eat or drink at all? That's right. Other than some carbonated water. Just water? Yes, the professor was unable to eat, But he'd been given permission to drink water. So it appears that the diners toasted their lunch with a glass of water each. They each raised a glass of carbonated water? What do you think, Ryunosuke? How about the witness's last statement? It probably has some meaning. We gotta slap the desk first. That last statement of yours, Miss Brett, has a profound bearing on this case. Well, how fascinating. Do tell us, what is this profound bearing, Yeah, I think the wine was actually supposed to be the carbonated water, maybe, but we'll double check. The significance of the statement will become apparent when the time is right. The defense calls for the witness's last statement to be formally added to the testimony. Well sidestepped, counsel. Very well, Miss Brett. Kindly repeat what you just said to be added to your official testimony. Gladly, she said. That was brilliant, Kazuma. I'm going to remember that one. Which one? The significance will become apparent when the time is right. I could really use that phrase. I'd hope there are some more useful tips you're picking up from this experience than that, Ryunosuke. Why does he look so disappointed in me? I ordered a beef steak for myself, and the professor and I said cheers over a glass of carbonated water.
Yes!
That's it. Let me just confirm something, please. It's to do with this photographic print. Just a short while ago, you spoke of this print showing the victim's table at the crime scene. Yeah. That it was exactly as it was left. That is correct, the lady says. Well, it's odd. Very odd. Dear me, what is odd with the defense's inability to express itself? Ryunosuke, what is it about the print that looks odd to you? Well, obviously, it's the cheers. The cheers? Miss Brett just told us that she and the professor said cheers over a glass of water. But if that's true, then there should be 2 glasses on the table, not 1. You're quite right, counsel. There's only 1 glass pictured here.
Objection!
Are we supposed to be impressed by this nitpicking over a minutiae? What possible difference does the presence or absence of a glass make on the case?
Objection!
It makes a lot of a difference, actually. Minute, you say? Could it be that the detective here removed a glass from the table to conceal the lady's presence? Of course not. I would never do something so reckless. But there should have been 2 glasses on the table. Or are you going to try to tell me you can clink with only one? It's like the one hand clapping. Yeah, Ouchie needs to go. You're quite right. I certainly took 2 glasses to the table. Inspector, what did the lady say? It would seem that it was Miss Brett who took the glass from the table. She used the 5-finger discount. What? It was all so terrifying. Everything that happened. I panicked and thought I should try to hide the fact that I'd been there at all, she's saying. Good gracious! Sorry. Her text became readable. There, as I assured the court before, this is of no consequence at all. Oh, please. We must remember that this student had just murdered this lady's luncheon companion before her very eyes. Who could blame her for concealing a glass or 2 in her state of disarray? That's absurd. Oh, really? So do we take it that you're now going to accuse this vulnerable, young and beautiful woman of mischief? What? No, no, no. This can't be put down to mischief. I'd like to know exactly how the lady took the glass from the scene. And she's back to unreadable text. It would seem that she'd slipped it into a small handbag she was carrying. A handbag, you say? Yes, Your Excellency, a small handheld pouch commonly carried by a well-to-do woman in England. So, the beautiful lady has very graciously explained how and why she removed the glass from the scene. However, the fact remains that this glass has absolutely no bearing on the case. The student has been trying to confuse the court with logical reasoning, but in the end, it comes to nothing. No more pretentious accusations. You have wasted enough time already. Indeed, the lady has offered a satisfactory explanation as to why she removed the glass. I think henceforth we can consider the matter to have no bearing on the case. Counsel for the defense, are you in agreement? Well, I don't know really. If you want to pursue this matter further, you're going to need to show that it has some deeper significance. Yes, you're right. So she took the glass away in her handbag. If there's a deeper significance there. It's... Yeah, Ouchie really is only the pretentious one here so far. But she only said now that she just had a handbag, so... Wait, the lady put the glass in her handbag, you say? Yes, do try to keep up. It's already been explained to the court that all English gentlewomen carry handbags for small items. Let me see. A little while ago, Miss Brett stated the following. There are no pockets in my outfit. I have nowhere to hide a gun. But what she forgot to mention was her handbag. In which it would be perfectly possible to conceal a gun. You're right. Well done, partner. I had a feeling you'd pick up on that, too. What are you insinuating, you vile blackguard? It's really very simple. That Kazuma is the ye to my ha. The gunshot was heard when the defendant picked up the gun from the restaurant floor. As he didn't fire that gun, we can deduce there must have been another firearm at the scene. The true murder weapon, if you will. You can't seriously be suggesting... Inspector Hosonaga. Yes. Did you or did you not search Miss Giselle Brett's handbag on the day of the murder? No, sir, I did not. As I thought. In other words, another gun. The one that was actually used to kill the professor. Could have been hidden in Miss Brett's handbag. No! Order! 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 What is the meaning of this, Inspector? The meaning of what, Prosecutor Ouchie? That you're feeling the ouchie? Why on earth did you not have the lady open her handbag and show you the contents at the time? Thanks to your bungling incompetence, now she has to endure these uncomfortable accusations. Brilliant work, partner. Now we have a chance to expose the real woman behind the mask. Do you think so, Kazuma? Ahem. He might die before the end of this trial. Well, what a sorry situation. Clearly you have no faith in the police. As I said, I did not search the lady's handbag after the shooting. Simply because it was unnecessary. Well, I mean, technically you should never look in a lady's handbag to begin with, but unless you ask. But, you know. Courtesy, people. Unnecessary? In what way? I ought to thank the student lawyer, really. I have a piece of evidence here that I had completely forgotten about. This photographic print. This print is of a photograph that I thought would be prudent to take immediately after the shooting. As you can see, it clearly shows Miss Brett's handbag. Always check the bags at the door. Well, I never. You can see right through to what's inside. That's right. Apparently, meshwork bags like these are the height of fashion in London at the moment. So the contents are clearly visible. Exactly. So there was no need to search the lady's handbag. If there had been a gun inside, it would have been immediately obvious. Ah! As you can see, there's nothing to imply Miss Brett's guilt here. Oh, that's a dangerous smile right there. Thank you for helping to prove that, Naruhodo-san. Ah! Order! Order! I think he needs a nap. Inspector Hosonaga, you will submit that print as evidence at once. Certainly, Your Excellency. Okay, so we got the photo of the handbag. I think you've had long enough to cross-examine the witness counsel. The court has now been shown considerable evidence. As the photographic print just submitted into the court, record appears have no further significance. I am satisfied that there is no longer any room for doubt in this matter, and I must make my ruling. Indeed. And there is only one logical conclusion. That the pathetic rookie slumped over the bench before us is the only possible perpetrator of this crime. That's rough, buddy. No. Just when I thought I was beginning to turn things around. I'm in a worse situation than I was at the start. No, even Kazuma. Kazuma? You okay? You don't look so hot. But that's a Ria no skate from me, buddy. Now that the cross-examination of the witness is over, there's no way to force the trial to continue. What? You mean this is it? I must say, you put up quite a fight for a rookie student, but the weak are meat, while the strong eat. You were wasting your time. There's no way to defeat true justice. A fact you can chew on to your heart's content, from the inside of your cell. This can't be happening. Am I really going to be found guilty of a crime that I didn't commit? And Kazuma, his dream of going to study in Great Britain will slip through his fingers. Kazuma. What? Is there really Is there really no chance now of turning this trial around? You heard the judge. There's nothing about that last photograph that the detective produced that we can contest. Which means there's no basis on which we can argue for the trial to continue. Very well. I will now proceed immediately to the ruling. It seems we'll be able to report to the British government on time after all. That smug Lil. Ryunosuke Naruhodo, having considered... You spoke too fast! Wait, Your Excellency. Ryunosuke. He's getting bold. Bold like barbecue sauce. I don't think you can rule on this case yet. This is amateurishness. Amateurishness is getting tedious. When His Excellency deems that the trial is over, he gives his ruling. That is the most basic protocol of the courtroom.
Yes.
Your Excellency, just a moment ago you said this. As the photographic print just submitted appears to have no further significance, there is no longer any room for doubt in this matter. And I must make my ruling. Now that means that if there was a problem with the evidence, some significant detail, I mean... then ruling on this case at this time would be out of the question. This is blatant straw clutching. Look at this photographic print. All it shows is the handbag the gentlewoman was carrying on the day in question. There can be no problem with this evidence. You'd better know what you're doing, Ryunosuke. I understand your objection, counsel. Certainly, the new evidence submitted by the detective has not undergone the court's scrutiny. However, I fail to see how we can glean any new information from this handbag. Ha! My thoughts exactly. Really, the prosecution is becoming tired of this rookie's desperate wheezes. Yes, I am desperate, but this isn't a wheeze. There's something about this photograph which just doesn't seem right. If only I could put my finger on it. Very well. I will grant the defense one final opportunity. What? But be warned that if I am unsatisfied by your response, the trial will be over with immediate effect. Oh. It looks like he's gonna smack me with that mallet. Oh yeah. Alright. Save done. Do I make myself clear? Yes, Your Excellency. So, take another look at the photographic print Inspector Hosonaga submitted before. You will identify the cord where this print we see the significant detail to which you have alluded.
Yes.
Look at this here. There's a very unusual mark on the victim's wrist. That is true. It looks almost like a burn of some description.
Objection!
Dear me, I was pondering what new piffle you would come out with. A burn, you say, on the victim's wrist? Clearly that has nothing whatsoever to do with the magnificent lady's handbag. Yes, that is a burn mark. You're right. Go on, Inspector. The police coroner also noted it when he was performing the post-mortem examination. It was deemed unrelated to the cause of death, so he didn't note it in his report. What did I tell you? In any case, we have no idea when the victim suffered this burn, do we? And no possible way of knowing either. The more I look at it, the more I find myself intrigued by the curious shape of this mark. However, as Prosecutor Ouchie points out, unless a firm connection to the case can be shown... I cannot allow any further time to be spent on the precise details of this burn. Excuse me, Your Excellency. It would seem Miss Brett has a lunch appointment with the Dean and another university staff. She would like to know if she may be excused from the stand now. Oh, of course, dear lady. We shan't hold you up any longer. I'm quite sure His Excellency is about to give his final ruling anyway. She just wanted something to eat. What's your thinking on this, Ryunosuke? Do you believe this burn does have something to do with the case? To be honest, I'm not really sure. But if I don't keep pushing, then it's all over. So I was thinking I should keep digging and digging, in the hope that I might uncover something useful. Yes, you're right. Am I? If we can just link that burn to the case, if we can do that, we might be able to prise this shutting door back open again. Just give up, Counsel. You can't possibly hope to do that. Indeed, I'm afraid that without evidence I can't allow you to pursue what is little more than conjecture. But what if we had evidence that irrefutably linked the burn to the victim's wrist to the case, then would you allow it? I would, yes. To tell the truth, I hadn't noticed that burn. But as soon as you pointed it out, what I did notice was the color draining from Miss Brett's face. Really? I have to find some link between that burn and the case. This is the moment of truth. Here we go! It's time to find some evidence that proves what that burn really means. So then. The defense will now present its evidence to the court. Alright, if we look at the photo... Kinda looks like a butt. I think that's it. The victim's burn is clearly related to this piece of evidence in the court record.
Objection!
Then explain to the court in 5 words or less what the nature of that connection is. Well, it's obviously, thank you. 5 highly illuminating words. What? As I suspected, the rookie student is bluffing. Again. Ah! You've been burned there yourself, Ryunosuke. Sorry. I do feel like I've seen the shape of that burn somewhere before, though. Look through the court record again. Carefully this time. Yes, I will. I have to find the link between the burn. Okay.
Yes!
What's this, Counsel? Yet another print? Yes, Your Excellency. I believe photographic prints are an amazing invention. When we humans look at a scene, we miss things. But in a photograph, things we may have overlooked at the time are recorded forevermore. Do hurry up, Rookie. What are you trying to say? To inconvenience this poor lady any further would really be inexcusable. Actually, we may need you to stay with us a little longer if you don't mind, Miss Brett. She's getting hangry. You see, it's very clearly visible in this other photograph. How did the victim come to have the unusually shaped burn on his wrist? The reason is recorded here forevermore. What? How?
Objection!
You can't fool me with your little bluffs, boy. If that's your game, then let's see how it plays out. Show the court exactly what you mean. What is it in this photo that explains the reason for the victim's burn?
Yes!
The beef steak? Actually, the point is the metal plate the steak was served on. The plate? Ah! Your Excellency, are you alright? As you can see, there's an emblem on the plate. I guess it's some sort of trademark of Le Carnival? This emblem on the plate. And the victim's burn. Are exactly the same shape. Ryunosuke, you genius! Ryu, yes. You're spot on. Which means the victim must have suffered this burn while he was present at the restaurant.
Objection!
We can't know if it happened on the day in question or not. It could have been the day before, or the day before that. It most likely happened at some other unrelated time. Well,
Objection!
sadly, Prosecutor Ouchie, the chances of that are extremely slim. Thanks. Why? The outline of the burn is clearly discernible. Such a serious injury would have caused quite a commotion in the restaurant. Wouldn't you agree, Inspector Hosonaga? I can't imagine having missed such a terrible disaster, certainly. But... I would say, looking at the picture of the wound, that it wasn't suffered very long ago. And although it's not particularly a large burn, it's extremely well defined, as the defense just pointed out. This was no mild burn, that's for sure. Can you be more specific, Inspector? Well, let's see. If the plate was around 90 degrees centigrade, a burn like that would have taken 3 seconds. It's inconceivable that the victim wouldn't have let out a scream of pain then. I've been investigating at the restaurant for several weeks already, but I've not heard anyone scream at all. As the head waiter of La Carnival, I can testify to that without hesitation. But you're a detective, not a waiter!
Yes!
There you have it. Something isn't right here. As the detective said, anyone who burnt themselves on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds would scream in pain. There's no question of that. And yet, Inspector Hosonaga never heard the professor scream. Not on that day, or any before it. That's right. And the strange thing is, on the day he was shot, I didn't hear him cry out either. What are you suggesting? Well, if the professor had carelessly laid his wrist on the plate for anything like 3 seconds that day, they definitely would scream ouchie. That would be beyond careless, I think, counsel. Then the rest of us in the restaurant, myself, the sergeant, and the old antiques dealer, all of us, without any question, would have heard him scream. Wouldn't you agree, Prosecutor Ouchie? Well, yes, I suppose. So the question is, why didn't a single person hear Dr. Wilson scream? I almost don't believe it. Ryunosuke, do you think... Can it really be true? I never dreamt we'd arrive at a conclusion like this, but I'm starting to think that maybe. We've been led into a terrible trap. There's only one explanation I can think of to make sense in this apparent impossibility. On the day in question when he suffered the burn to his wrist, Dr. Wilson Well, even if they were asleep, they would still probably scream. He probably was already dead. No man could remain silent while his wrist was burning on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds. That's clearly impossible apart from the particular situation. Counsel, are you suggesting... You bet I am. It's only possible. If the man was already dead. Already dead? Knowing what we know now, it's the only possible explanation. When the beefsteak was brought to Dr. Wilson's table that day, the professor was already dead. That's madness. We usually are always dead at the dentist anyways. Sometimes. Order! Order! Please! Counsel, explain this absurd notion at once. The victim was killed by a gunshot. That's right. That's absolutely right, Your Excellency. This is just another ridiculous ploy by the rookie student, but clearly he has no grasp of the facts.
Objection!
No, Prosecutor Ouchie. It's you who has no grasp of the facts. I beg your pardon. So, as soon as it became apparent that the victim had suffered that burn while at the restaurant, this whole case was turned upside down. Or have you not grasped that yet? Your Excellency, the court must hear from this witness again. If it's true, as we now believe, that the victim was already dead before the gunshot was heard, it is highly likely that Miss Brett knows something about it. Incredible. We certainly didn't anticipate the twist of events. What'd twist? Don't order the beefsteak or you'll die. I'm sorry to say, Miss Brett, that you will have to forget your luncheon engagement. That's right. No lunch for you. But, Your Excellency... But rest assured, all reasonable doubt must be dispelled before I am prepared to pass judgment. Thank you, Your Excellency. God, she keeps smiling at me like that. Like, what was that smile? I'm glad he picked up on that. Yes, of course. I mean, I'd be delighted to help. Especially if it helps relations between my country and yours. Oh boy! She throwing down now. Miss Brett. You speak Japanese? Well, of course I do. I am studying in your country after all. But then, why have you been speaking through an interpreter until now? My mother tongue, the Queen's English, is the most refined and elegant language in the world. As a gentlewoman, I try to avoid speaking in your vulgar tones as much as possible. Oof. She probably shouldn't be insulting another country's language. But it seems the men in this land possess none of the chivalrous virtues of English gentlemen. So I can see that I shall have to lower myself to communicating with you all on your own level. Rude. Well, you are the epitome of a true English gentlewoman. We are truly honored by this. Oh my god, ouchie. This lavish consideration you so graciously afford us. I see. In that case, Miss Brett, I will now ask you to testify in your own words about the events leading up to the death of the victim, Dr. Wilson. Yep. So, we're finally going to hear her own words on the matter. Things are getting interesting, Ryunosuke. All right. Unfortunately, I have no idea when the poor man burnt his wrist like that. When the waiter brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glasses in a toast, but no, she didn't. As far as I've heard, the post-mortem report showed no other possible cause of death besides the gunshot. If there's some other way a man's life can be taken without leaving a trace, please do show me. But of course, this country's inferior investigative techniques probably wouldn't pick up on it anyway. There she goes again. She's insulting everyone. That most captivating and beautiful testimony will go down in the Supreme Court's history. Thank you. Easy does it. I hope that this is the last time I will have to sully my lips with the coarse tones of your unbecoming tongue. Whoa! Slow down. Oh, forgive me. I do hope I haven't insulted... Yeah, you clearly did. Not at all, not at all. It is a delight to merely hear you speak, dear lady. I'm calling BS on that. And it seems very clear from your testimony that this boorish talk of the victim's burn is utterly irrelevant. I will be speaking to your country's Minister of Justice about what has happened here. Oh my god. She clearly wanted to get rid of him. The Minister of Justice? May that irritating little bully of a student be given the harshest punishment possible. Okay. Amen. Oh my god. Really? Thanks. Was that a prayer then? Well, you'll have to forgive the irritation, Miss Brett, and put up with cross-examination now. Alright, let's get her. I expect you've noticed that this little bully of a student, as you put it, doesn't miss much. I'm sure I don't need to remind you, counsel, that this will be your final cross-examination in this trial. If you fail to demonstrate any problems with this witness's testimony, I will be ruling on the case immediately. Is that clear? Well. way to hype yourself up. Yes, Your Excellency. Then you may proceed with the cross-examination. No.
Yes.
How about we talk to you about insulting an entire country? In the lands of the Great British Empire, the police store everything found at a crime scene for later examination. But in this country, you investigate once, and that's the end of it. Isn't that so? Quite right. La Carnival is open for business as usual today, just after the incident. Exactly. Which means that even if the investigation takes a different direction, sir, vital evidence may be lost. It doesn't even occur to your naive detectives to try to preserve the crime scene. I'm trying to be as tactful about this as I can, you understand? A killer blow! The lady is as formidable as she is beautiful. Amazing. He's actually admitting our police may be flawed. Perhaps Prosecutor Ouchie is finally starting to see sense. I very much doubt that. Press X to doubt! Still, there's something about what Miss Brett just said. There was a moment before when something didn't seem quite right. Maybe it's the fact that the waiter is dying beside her. What do you think, Ryunosuke? I think it's going terribly. No matter how much I press her, I'm not turning up any new information. Yes, as I suspected, she's a tough witness. We need to find a way to break her testimony, or the cross-examination will be over. But that would mean I have to find a way. There must be some clue somewhere to help us find a chink in her armor. Kazuma. What, Ryunosuke? There is one thing I noticed. Something that's been bothering me. Bothering you? You mean about Miss Brett? Actually, no. About the person standing next to her. Inspector Hosonaga. The detective? Yes, he seemed to react a little strangely to Miss Brett's last statement. I was wondering if it might be significant. If it might present an opening, maybe. Alright, I have an idea. Try pressing her on that last statement one more time. If you think so, but this time, instead of targeting the woman herself, let's see what we can get out of the detective. Alright then. I wonder what Kazuma's thinking. I'll find out soon enough, I suppose. Once I find out what's in her last statement again.
Yes!
I'm glad. Inferior? What do you mean by that?
Wait.
Yes, there it is again. The detective reaction is just the same as before. Why? Up until now, the detective has been in the stand with Miss Brett as her interpreter. But things are very different now. For this testimony, the detective is just listening to what the Englishwoman has to say. This could be a golden opportunity. What do you mean? When people are actually testifying, they're usually very careful not to let anything slip. However, when they're listening to someone else speak, you'll find they often let their guard down. You're right. Look at him. He's lost in his own thoughts. He finally said yes for once. It's time to pursue the man and his train of thought. Sorry, pursue? I'll explain how to do it now, Ryunosuke. It's all to do with the witness marker. What marker? At the moment, we're focused on Miss Brett, who's the person actually making the current statement. Oh, that's a cool mechanic. By moving the marker to the left and the right, you can turn your attention to the other people in the stand. That's interesting. While you're looking at the other witnesses, you'll be able to pursue them. If you can catch the person just at the right time, you might uncover some new information to pursue. If you ever notice a strange atmosphere amongst the people on the stand, take a good look around. Alright then. So should I first move the marker across with A and D and focus on the detective? Yeah, it's supposed to be a really long tutorial, I guess. Then pursue him and see what's on his mind. Exactly. Which means that even if the investigation takes a different direction, vital evidence may be lost. Okay.
Excuse me.
Excuse me. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to shock you. He really was lost in his thoughts. Deeply. It looked like you were thinking something just now, Inspector. Perhaps having heard what the lady next to you had to say, If there's something you'd like to say, please share it with the court.
Objection!
What is the meaning of this? It's the delightful Englishwoman who's testifying at the moment. If you can't find fault with her testimony, then the cross-examination should be over immediately. Oh, is that how it works? Absolutely not. The detective is in the stand, which makes him a valid witness. He just looked at Cosimo for like a second. Yes, not to mention the fact that he's intimately involved with the case. Inspector Hosonaga. Yes. You got a little something on your face. Do you have something to add in relation to the statement just made by Miss Brett? Well, yes, if you don't mind. I would like to speak. The lady is right. Our country's police practices are not as modern as those used in Great Britain. Which is why I, Satoru Hosonaga, always strive to make every investigation I'm involved in flawless. What do you really mean by that? I'll tell you what I mean. I won't have evidence lacking on my watch. I'm not afraid to take everything I can from the scene of the crime. If it's preserving evidence, you see. I don't care if they call me a crime scene thief. I'm not ashamed of what I've done. A crime scene thief? Well, it looks like the lady's remarks touched a nerve there. Take this for example. Is that... This is the bottle of carbonated water that I took to the victim's table on the day in question. And yes, it lost all of its fizz, having been opened 3 days ago now. But it was carbonated water. I don't care what anyone says. Yes, there's some left in the bottle. I can see it. One day, our police force will be among the best in the world. The time is coming, I guarantee it. I can't say I condone the witness's actions, but I do understand the sentiment. The court will accept the glass bottle of water as evidence. Hey, we got a new piece of evidence. Miss Brett? Can you confirm this is indeed the bottle from which you drank on the day on the victim's death? Yes, it was that bottle. What was that about? She seemed to avert her eyes when she answered the question. Very well. Cancel, you may resume the cross-examination. And the inspector will kindly control his fervor. The label is written in a foreign language that I don't recognize. Do you know what it says, Kazuma? I think it's French. This must be very expensive water. Yes, but what does it say? That's what I was asking. Then go to France. Go to France and ask. It was probably like Perrier or something like that. You could just say that you don't know. So this is carbonated water. Is the last drink Dr. Wilson ever had? It looks like there's a little left in the bottle, although it's just plain water now. You know, I've been sweating so much, I'm absolutely parched. Oh, Ryunosuke, don't drink that. I'll just... No! Don't drink that! No, Ryunosuke, you can't do that! For one thing, that's evidence. You can't go drinking evidence. Oh no, you're right. We don't know what might be inside, do we? You never cease to amaze me, Ryunosuke. In more ways than one. I wonder. Could there be anything in this water? What's the matter? You've gone quiet all of a sudden. I think I might have just worked something out. An interesting possibility.
Yes!
What is this? The bottle of water? Actually, there is one method of killing a man without a leave a trace that comes to mind. Obviously, I'm referring to poison. Ha! Nailed it! Poison? On the day of his death, we know that Dr. Wilson drank from this bottle of carbonated water. Could it be that there was poison inside? Could it be that the professor actually died after taking a sip from his glass? Order! 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 And on that day, who was sitting at the same table as the professor and able to slip the poison into his drink? There's only one person who could possibly have done it. Giselle Brett. It was you.
Objection!
This is outrageous to suggest such a thing without a scrap of evidence. You little rookie imbecile. Have you even considered the delicate situation our country finds itself in now? Have you forgotten that we only just signed an accord of friendship with the British Empire? Have you even the vaguest inkling what your rash accusations could jeopardize the entire treaty?
Objection!
This is not a political arena. This is a trial to determine one individual's guilt with respect to one crime. What? The fact that this woman is British makes no difference. We are here to determine the truth. Ahem. If I may, I will silence you forever for this. Shut up! It is you who should be silent. Of course. Dear lady. Where did that come from? She just snapped. I'm afraid I may have spoken unfairly before. I offer my most humble apologies. I'm sorry, my lady. To what are you referring? I described your police as inferior. But no matter how inferior they may be, you still investigated this particular point thoroughly, I believe. The bottle, I mean, Inspector, and whether it contained poison or not. Of course. You did? Have you forgotten what my guiding principle is already? I strive for a flawless investigation every time. I don't believe it. Naturally, we tested the inside of the bottle and its contents. And what did you find, Inspector? I ordered tests for every toxin that's available in this country at the present time. We could find no trace of poison of any description in the bottle of carbonated water, Your Excellency. What? Are you sure? The tests were meticulously carried out by the chief coroner himself. No. No! Man, even with all that evidence, we still seem to be on a losing battle. I'm very grateful to all you Japanese. You've successfully established my complete innocence in this horrid affair. Thank you. But of course, dear lady, the pleasure was all ours. I was so sure. This can't be right. Everything falls into place if he was poisoned. Thank you, counsel. I think that cross-examination has clarified everything. As the prosecution have asserted, a shot to the chest from this gun is the only conceivable cause of death. Furthermore, the accused, who by his own admission was holding this weapon, is the only possible culprit. I'm done for. The court wishes to apologize for the great inconvenience this has caused you, Miss Rhett. Oh no, I'm just glad the matter is resolved. Before proceeding, I must ask the counsel for the defense. Do you have any further new evidence to present to the court at this point? Kazuma? I'm sorry, Ryunosuke. I have nothing more. Well, if you'll excuse me now, I really must be leaving. As should we all.
Hold it!
She's here! Please wait. Isn't that... What is the meaning of this? Forgive me for intruding on court proceedings, Your Excellency. Susato Mikotoba, Judicial Assistant to the Defense. Mikotoba? In my darkest hour, with nowhere left to go, she appeared like a bolt of lightning. And in her hand, she carried a small package, wrapped in a furoshiki cloth. She about to turn things around!